get out of here and come.
What you just saw was me interviewing one of my favorite UFC fighters, Cory Sandhagen. A year ago, this is a true story. I was sitting on the phone with somebody and I was watching a UFC pay-per-view that he was on. And I remember saying to them, he seems like a cool guy to get a beer with. You know, he just seems like a regular guy. Out of all of the people in the UFC, he is somebody that I would love to just pick his brain or talk to him. That is a true story. Fast forward to now, it's all connected. Like, how's that happen, huh? I don't know. That's a crazy story. Let's talk about it. Hi, if you don't know me, my name is Jacob. I'm a 25-year-old filmmaker, and this is a series that I started called The Bucket List, where I do everything in my life that I've ever wanted to do that's on my bucket list, and every single week we do something to cross another thing off the bucket list. Now, if you've seen the video about Las Vegas, where I went to my first UFC event, that whole weekend and week leading up to it was a pretty big deal for me because I had never been to a UFC fight before in person, but I've been somebody that's watched the sport for years, you know, maybe since I was even 17, for a few reasons. And I'll tell you why. I was always somebody that was very unsure of themselves. When I was younger, I always had a lot of doubt, a lot of uncertainty about me as a person and my own abilities, if I would ever be able to achieve great things. I was always very uncertain about it. I think what I liked most about combat sports was that you get to see the best people in the world test themselves on the world stage for everyone to see, and you get to find out what people are really made of. That spoke to me. Ever since I was a kid, I felt like an underdog. I never felt like I fit in with any particular crowd, and I was always very lonely as a kid. The reason why I like Cory Sandhagen as a fighter is because he feels like a normal person, just a normal dude. And he always talks about he's just a guy doing his best. For people who feel like underdogs, like they have something to prove, there's always this feeling that you're misunderstood and that people don't quite know what you're capable of, and they might think that your threshold is here when in reality you know that it's much higher. And the way that Cory speaks about himself as a UFC fighter trying to climb the ladder and prove people wrong really speaks to me. And besides being somebody that I relate to on a personal level from how he speaks about mental health and trying to prove yourself and overcoming your own personal obstacles, he also happens to be really exciting as a fighter because he's really good at beating the shit out of people. I watch all of his fights. A year later, I'm chatting with this dude. Not once, but twice, because we interacted on a trip to Colorado for the job that I work for. We were shooting in Colorado at one of the gyms that he trains at, and he came in, and I just had to go say hi to him.
Yeah, nice. Oh yeah. And you can feel it when you're like, is it cool to get footage of like your training?
He's not going to be tomorrow.
What's up, brother? How we doing? Matt. Good to meet you.
He's not going to be tomorrow.
It's like power up on a video game.
And I would have been happy with that. Could have just left it there. That would have been it. I would have been cool with that. But then Vegas came around. There's a wellness panel going on that we were filming for, and I was just doing my thing, filming. As the whole event's coming to an end, I see Cory over by the backdrop, and I thought, well, we need to ask him some questions. Nobody else is around, so you know what? I'll go interview him. So the question that like everybody wants to know is like, Marav's next, dude.
Yeah.
You're up next for Marav, right?
I'm pretty certain.
Like 99.9% certain.
I don't know if you can ever be that certain in the UFC, but I'm
The people's champ. Like,
yeah. I think it's gonna happen. Yeah.
I would say at this point, like that's the one that everybody wants to happen next.
Yeah.
And so obviously, like you're in town for International Fight Week. Are you kind of like getting into that like camp mindset for that's potentially what's going to be next? I know it's not like 100% at this point.
Definitely in this one, I feel like anytime I hear the name of an opponent and a fight is coming up, whether it's a year away or 6 months away or 2 weeks away, I like immediately start training really hard. So
You just like to be ready like all the time.
Yeah.
Because I heard that story. You were saying that like you were on, I think, like your honeymoon with your wife.
Yeah.
And then it was like before the Marav O'Malley like rematch, and you were like sprinting like on the beach. Or
Yeah, probably. I did see a bunch of fans out there when I was running, so maybe that got out there a little bit. But yeah, when I was out in Maui, I was running a lot. I couldn't hit the bag right. I didn't have any training partners or whatever, so I was running a lot outside, which was fun, and I was just lifting a lot of weights and stuff. But I kind of have to do stuff in throughout the day, or else I just go stir crazy. So part of it's to get ready for a fight, and then part of it's just because I'm a psychopath if I don't like work out every day. So yeah,
that's just like who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Well, when you're getting into like the camp for this, like, yeah, from what I remember, like you came on to Aries like 2 months ago, right? So this is moderately new, but you were using it like beforehand.
Yeah, so I got on with Aries, pretty recently, mostly because I just sleep like shit.
Really?
For the most part. Like 4 nights out of the week, which isn't too bad, I guess. It could be worse, but in camp especially, I feel like my nervous system is just always on like 1,000, just fighting people all day. So I just don't really sleep super great during camp, but so I reached out to Josh and just was like, hey man, like, will this help me sleep? And he was like, yeah. And so I started using it for that, and then now I got them all over my house in front of my microwave and all of that. So
hell yeah, dude. Were you using it when you were training for Figgy? Like, was it
yes, I believe I was. Yeah, I think that you guys sent me out some, and that's when I started using them. I remember because I wanted to sneak one into my cup.
Yeah, dude.
Because you can't put them anywhere, but in your cup you'd be able to put like something like this. So
we have a video that we played at the PI yesterday for like an event, and that shit makes everybody laugh so hard because you're just like, there's like a stack of brain scans, and it's like all the athletes talking, and then you're towards the end of the video and you're like, I tried to put it in my cup, and like, dude, everyone in the room, like, that makes everyone laugh like every single time, because that's just like, that's part of your personality, but it's so funny that you're like thinking about like how to integrate it.
Yeah. That's
but
funny.
Have you seen like benefits like since then, like using it during training camps and stuff?
I think so. I feel like I had like a natural aversion to my cell phone and stuff, just like being around. I don't know if it came from my mom telling me that like a laptop on my lap was bad and like all of that stuff, because the idea of EMFs has been around for a little bit of time, no one's just done anything about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely feel like more protected throughout the day. I notice when I'm not wearing it, and then I feel better having my phone in my pocket next to my balls, which is good because that's like a big thing, like I want to have kids and stuff. And my mom was like, hey, I need some grandkids.
Yeah.
Protect those things.
Protect your balls with Aries.
Protect the balls so that we can have some kids. And so now I feel like my balls are really protected.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome, dude.
All right.
Do you feel like, I mean, I'm sure most of these other fighters, like I saw you talking to Mike, and then it's like you came in with Markel.
Yeah.
So it's like these other fighters that are integrating this in. Like, do you feel like that's a benefit for the sport? Because, I mean, like from a fan perspective, I feel like seeing athletes perform at their best, that's why it's so interesting, And so you guys getting these like extra little like slivers of advantages just make you like perform better as athletes because you're the peak level. And for something like International Fight Week, like, do you kind of feel like it's expanding, or like what do you think are the benefits of having that kind of growing in the sport?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I think that there's a lot more to being healthy than just eating good, exercising, and meditating. I think that we live in like a super unnatural world, especially like the world of Vegas, which is like just lights and noises, and you're in like an electronic cube. So like, yeah, anything that counteracts all of that unnaturalness has to be giant, So I'm like a mountains nature guy. So like when I'm around all of this, it's like too much for me to deal with, and I feel like a lot safer and like protected using Aries.
Yeah. Well, when you wind up for something like, say the Marab fight hypothetically is next, like how would you kind of use that like while you're in camp, like leading up to it?
I mean, I'm just gonna just make sure that my house is covered in Aries so that I sleep good. Our gym now is covered in Aries, so that's great.
The high altitude one?
High altitude
and the Onyx, right?
And Onyx, yep, both of them. Yep. So yeah, I'm covered everywhere I go now.
And your balls are protected.
And my balls are safe.
Hell
My
yeah.
wife has one in her car, so she's safe. She doesn't have balls, but if she had balls, they'd be safe.
Exactly. That's it right there.
Cool.
Perfect. Sweet, man.
Yeah, right on.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, cool, man. What's your name again?
Jacob.
Jacob. Okay, cool.
Dude, I was gonna say, I was like, been playing 50-50 with my grandma.
Cool.
She popped my knee out of the socket.
Son of a bitch.
Just happens all the time.
Yeah, dude.
That was like,
grandma.
how many people get to say that they went to a UFC event and then they also interviewed a fighter at the same time? Not a lot. So that's, I feel like I just spoke to the universe and I was like, hey, give me something. And then the universe just came right back and was like, all right, I got something for you. But a first UFC fighter interview and getting to interview Cory Sandhagen is definitely a bucket list item. I asked, the universe delivered. You know what's crazy? It doesn't stop there. So what you can do, subscribe, because there's new videos out every single week. You're not going to want to miss it because there's new bucket list items happening all the time. And I promise you, they just get progressively better and better. And I am so stoked to share it with you guys. I can't wait for you guys to see this stuff. Like if you hate paying taxes, comment if you're also a UFC fan, share the video with your elderly grandma who also watches UFC, if that's a thing. In the meantime, I'm going to go cross some more things off my list. So I'll see you next week. Bye.